And we are live.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our Sunday stream here in Alice Land. We are super excited today because we have our special guest, Lennon Hobson, here with us, whom we have had the blessing and the joy of getting to work with for many moons, and we've made many beautiful projects together, and she's just a light in the universe. And so this is Lennon over here. Well, she's over here on my thing. This is Lennon, y'all, and if you have any questions for her, toss them on the Twitch, on the YouTube, on the Facebook, and we will talk with Lennon about all the different projects that she's worked on with us. And then but first we're going to show a little video.
All right, we're going to do a little sizzle reel.
Hi, my name is Lennon Hobson. I'm a performer and creative collaborator with Alice.
And we're back.
Yay!
And we got Tosh too. All right, we got everyone. So yeah, we're like Sasha was saying, we've got Lennon here. We're doing our Sunday hang series, and we're so excited to have Lennon. Oh no, we lost Tosh again. I'll work on getting her back on in a second. But yeah, welcome to our Sunday stream, Lennon. And we're so excited to have you here. You're one of the featured dancers in the See Me music video, and we've got all of our streams connected right now, so everyone's going to come into the chat. So people bring your questions. I'm going to be checking out the chats for like questions. But yeah,
we've got a great one already. It says from Kali, Lennon, are your routines demanding of you?
Boy, I think it depends on which routine. I deliberately made the See Me music video routine less demanding than I normally would. But yes, physically demanding, dancing, and many of the routines that I've done and still do, even for myself, choreography is definitely physically demanding. Definitely a lot of training, a lot of stamina. The training I feel is really important if you want to do it regularly, because I do fall back into it habitually. And I think it's one of the reasons that I've been able to do it kind of for a long time. It's like any skill set. It's like, it's physically demanding until you kind of get your stride, and then you can fall back into the technique to kind of save you. But I do remember that day I was like, oh, I'm so glad I made this easy. And then I did a bunch of improv. And then I was like, oh, I'm tired. I got home that night and was like, hi, boy, I'm really tired. And Brian was like, well, you just danced for like 2 hours straight. And I was like, I did.
And it was amazing. It was so beautiful to get to watch you. Lennon is so passionate and so effervescent and expressive in your dancing. And I know I started that in third person, and then I was talking to you. I apologize, that was confusing. But it's just beautiful. Watching you dance, getting to watch you dance is such a delight. And you just nailed it the other day on See Me. The other day being like 2 weeks ago. It feels like the other day. So it's just so fun. It was beautiful, and the choreography that you did for you and Tigran was gorgeous, and then your improv was gorgeous. Like, it was just so fun. I love it so much.
Yeah, it was really my first piece since the pandemic that was like for myself, for friends, in like a really safe space for me to kind of create something with a little more like emotional gravitas to it. Instead of just like little commercial ha-has. So it was really fun to do. So this particular routine, the partner dancing was not so demanding, but then my improvs ended up being demanding. And I feel like all artists and performers can kind of speak to this. It's like when you're in it, when you're on stage, you don't really notice how physically demanding it is. But then when you come off stage, you're like, wow, I'm tired. I mean, you guys tour every night. Isn't that physically demanding?
Yes, definitely.
Yes. But it's also soul feeding, so I think maybe it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, the adrenaline, I think, kind of pushes you through, and performing is so much fun. And it's so much, that's like how I speak to the world and how I connect with other people. So I don't really notice how demanding it is until afterwards. And the next day I'm like, wow, I'm real sore.
Yeah, the next day or the 2 days after, really, is the like,
second day on set.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's one we have from Russell. What has been your favorite project so far, Lennon?
With Alice? Oh my gosh, so much. We've had so many good times. My gosh. Like thinking all the way back to like Breathe choreography with Michelle Bain, like going from studio to like building a wasteland stage apocalyptic set in Brian Forrest's backyard, to like when we were doing Land of Confusion all the way back with in Casimira Buchanan and I's old apartment complex, like in the parking lot. I think she choreographed that fairy combo in our kitchen. In our tiny little apartment kitchen. I have a memory of like walking in the living room and just like fairy and Alice clothing being like everywhere. It was like all over our apartment for like a day. And I feel like it was summer. So we were concerned because people had their windows open and we were trying not to be too loud in the like parking garage of our complex. And then of course we went to film Mirage at the desert, which was one of my like favorite experiences with Alice, because we were like all piled in like 3 cars. And so it was like the dancers, Michelle Bain, who choreographed it, all of you guys, we were like all in the car. We drove out to Mirage and we shot a music video in like apocalyptic dance outfits. And we kept having to put the camera in the ice chest to cool it down.
That was
I've heard
one
so
of the
many
ones,
stories about that.
like, and you know, all you dancers are spread way out in this beautiful V, and you're doing your choreography, and Carl has the gimbal and he's just running back and forth filming y'all while you're dancing. So I feel like we needed a really big ice box for all of us to get into, but the camera got lucky.
Then, I mean, even electrical that was like during the pandemic. So we filmed that outside, and that was in Brian Forrest Rain Bar in his backyard. And I remember like there's these 2 owls that live out there. And we've been following them for years. I think they're northern screech owls. And I've like tried really hard to identify them. They came and like sat on top of a tree while you guys were playing your music, and they were just like vibing. They were just there to listen to electrical. And I don't know, that was a really special project because it was like during the pandemic and I felt really disconnected from a lot of people and a lot of art. And then it was like you guys came over in your masks and stood under a rain bar for like hours to play music with us. And I don't know, that was also a really fun time. And then I loved doing See Me as well. Sasha and I talked a little bit about this, but See Me felt like a complete reconnection, like back to who I was, back to my roots, back to my community since the pandemic ended.
We are so grateful. We are so grateful for the times, like all of it, right? The desert, from the desert, from Steve's kitchen, from the backyard with the rain, and the post-apocalyptic trash sets that we built. And
I mean, one of the experiences that also sticks out in my head is performing. Was it at the Whiskey with you guys?
At the Whiskey, maybe.
I think that was the Troubadour. That was at the Troubadour.
I was at the Troubadour.
Yeah.
The Troubadour. I was like, the Whiskey. It was the Troubadour. That was
Alice
such a fun.
Underground.
Alice Underground.
That was crazy. I can't believe we played at the Troubadour. That's such a historic venue, and we were like, "Hey, Alice Underground." That was amazing. Like, and it's so great to always work with you and collaborate with you in all the ways in which we do. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, live shows.
Go ahead, love.
Just live shows with Alice are super fun. I feel like live shows with Alice are really special. Like, I don't know, I don't do a ton of like backup dancing anymore, but like for Alice, I'm always like, yeah, it's gonna be fun if it's with Alice.
Yeah.
I like this question a lot. It says, do you have any Lennon autographed merchandise in the Alice store? And we do not, but we will now. We will make this happen. You know,
well, we have to figure out. Yeah, we have to figure out what kind of merch. What like is
Right?
it gonna be like an action figure
That'll be
or
amazing.
like a
What do you guys
t-shirt with
want? Do you
face
want
on
like
it?
quotes? Yeah, what do you want? You want like Lennon quotes on t-shirts? Like more like
You
choreography.
know we do.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
This one,
fan.
this one's cool. This is Lennon, how did you meet Alice?
Oh my gosh. This is so universal. This is like how the cosmos are connected, right? When I was very, very young, I was just a baby little teenager, met a beautiful dancer named Ben Sales, who some of you might know as Windu. He used to be a break dancer, or he still is. He's an acro break dancer,
Oh, yeah.
modern dancer. He is an incredible dancer. I met him. I was doing a dance workshop at the Diavolo space. I was just taking like a summer intensive there. And he was working at the time, he was doing the Diavolo summer intensive because he's an acro dancer. We connected. I then saw him perform at another showcase and I was like, hey, you keep popping up everywhere. And he invited me that summer to come see him dance at the Labyrinth Masquerade Ball. And I was like, this is so much fun. How did you get involved in this? And he immediately put me in touch with Sasha. I think we had a meeting or an interview. I auditioned the following year after I turned 18. I think I was 19 when I auditioned for you. And then I got involved with the Labyrinth Masquerade Ball, and Alice was one of the performing acts. And I think just not even 2 years later, they started doing projects, music videos, and I started dancing with Alice at the Labyrinth Masquerade Ball. And it just snowballed from there. And it was, clubs in Hollywood and music videos and art collabs and modeling gigs. And now here we are.
I know.
Been a
Oh,
long
so
time.
awesome.
Wow.
We're getting a lot of Lennon love online, just so you know, and the whole band is. We have this definitely loved the work on Land of Confusion. You all did an amazing job. Welcome, Lennon. It's a pleasure to have you on the stream. Great to meet you. Lennon merch would be awesome. I love that. Oh, here's a merch idea. It's one of those little music boxes with the tiny dancer inside. That's good, Sean. That's cool.
Yeah, that's an awesome idea.
Yeah. Tiny dancer have an Alice t-shirt on it.
I love it.
I feel like Alice projects have been really special to me because I've gotten to play so many different characters for you guys over the years. And I mean, and beyond just doing stuff where like you guys call me and I ask you to do stuff, I've called in favors from you guys who've been like, hey, we have a fundraiser, you want a headline? Hey, we've got a
Totally.
cabaret show, like want to do an acoustic set, want to do a full set, want to do a concert. And I feel like that's so special to me, the fact that like you guys aren't just people that I collaborate with artistically, but you're also people I always want at my parties. You're people I always want to go have drinks with. You're people like, if you guys call, I'm like, oh, it's Alice, of course we're doing it. Like there's no question in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, Tosh and Sasha and Scott are gonna be there. We're going. Oh, Carl's gonna be there. Great. It's like old fam. It's like hangout. It goes beyond so much further than just, oh yeah, I've worked with them a couple times. Oh yeah, I back up dance. It's like I've gone through very personal experiences with you guys. And like to a certain extent, I feel like you guys have this weird perspective of me where you sort of watched me kind of grow up in a way, because I was so young and lost when I met you guys.
For sure, yeah.
Now I'm adult shaped.
Yeah, we all have evolved a lot and grown so much like in the time we've all known each other. So it's been really amazing. Oh, we got a pretty cool question here. It's just someone who's asking what all of our favorite movies are. So can maybe just go around, say what our favorite movie is.
You want to start us off, Scott? You got any ideas?
I think my all-time favorite movie is probably The Matrix, just because it inspired a specific aesthetic within my life at the time, and it was also like just a moment in time, or it was like a cultural shift, and like the actual story was just really like mind-bending in a way that I've never seen a movie like just like play with reality like that. But yeah, that's probably my all-time favorite.
I'll go next. First, I want to give a shout out to whoever said, where did it go? Somebody said, oh, Jeremiah said we should have bobbleheads, and I'm completely okay with that. That would be amazing. So let's get on that. For the favorite movie, the one that always comes to my mind first, it's always in my top three, though it fluctuates, is definitely Road to Perdition. It is still one of the most beautiful and amazing stories, and I just love every aspect of it. So I'm gonna go with that for my answer this week. But next time, as usual, it'll probably change.
I feel like that speaks to you as a cinematographer too, Carl. Like I just the fact that you were like Road to Perdition, one of the reasons is it's so beautiful. I was like, oh, that explains a lot about how you love and view cinematography as like a storytelling medium. So I think that's super interesting.
Oh goodness, yeah, it's definitely one of the most inspirational visual movies, of course. And I still have yet to rip off my favorite shot of that movie. I will at some point, probably for an Alice music video. But yeah, that movie was shot by the late Conrad L. Hall, who did some of the greatest shots, most beautiful shots I've ever seen in my life. Oh my goodness, still can't get over it. And so, yeah, in the future, you're going to be seeing a lot of me stealing from that film and from all of his other ones as well.
All right, favorite movie, Tosh.
Okay. I have to say two. So one I would say is Lord of the Rings. I always have my periodic watching. I go for a little period of time and then I'm like, it's time to rewatch the trilogy. And then also because we're entering the season of Halloween, Nightmare Before Christmas. I really love Tim Burton movies. So, and that's my all-time favorite.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I agree. Tosh, The Lord of the Rings was like super informative of who I am, like as a person, as well as the art that I watch. Lord of the Rings, the Lord of the Rings trilogy was super inspirational to me, like aesthetically, storytelling wise, like all the I watch it also on the regularly. Actually, fun fact that no one needs to know, I do my banking to Fellowship of the Rings instead of setting a timer. So
Wait,
like
what?
if I'm balancing my checkbook and I'm this is so TMI, but here we are. I'm a comedian. I like instead of like setting an alarm like a sane human, I'm like, no, I'm gonna turn on Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. And I'm like, oh shit, they're at the Prancing Pony. I gotta like get busy. Or I'm like, oh no, we're in Rivendell. I am behind. Or I'm like, I know where we are. We have Gandalf and I am on target. Like I can like time my routine to Fellowship of the Ring extended edition. So that's just, and in case any of you need it, that's a tool for you. One of my top favorites is Moulin Rouge. I love Baz Luhrmann. I am obsessed with the Baz. I was like, no segue. We're just jumping in. I love Baz Luhrmann's spectacle. I love his use of the color red. And how he uses it symbolically in all of his movies. And I love the Red Curtain trilogy. And I am a massive Moulin Rouge. I feel like choreographically has super influenced me. Like anytime people are like, oh, we need kind of a tango-esque feel, I watch Tango de la Roxanne again, even though I've memorized the whole thing. I'm like, yeah, but let me just make sure I got that move right. And like anytime people are like, we want like a cute little love dance, I watch Elephant Love Medley. I just that movie is filled with so much beautiful storytelling, and I love the way that they integrated popular music of the time into a period drama and just literally everything about it. Like you could be like, yeah, but what about this? I'm like, I love it. I thought it was genius. Like everything about it. And I watch it all the time. And if you don't like the ending because it's sad, if you pause it right at the moment where the rose petals fall on their faces as the bells are chiming and you just turn it off, it's this really happy movie where they just live happily ever after. You don't have to sit through the sad end. But if you're like me and you need a good cry, that'll force it out of you.
That is a good one. Really good.
Awesome. I love it. I've been taking notes. Like I legit have like, oh, fascinating. Try banking to Lord of the Rings. Like it's so awesome. I love it so much. And it's good to have like your list of cry movies, right? Like just ready to go. So I think my favorite all-time movie is Silence of the Lambs. I could watch it, like stop it, start it over, and watch it again. I can actually sit through it. Like, oh golly, that movie. Wowza. Anthony Hopkins was, well, I love Anthony Hopkins, and I just think he's so talented and gifted, and the movie just so yeah. So that's but I've never banked to it.
That's a great season movie too, because it's like once again, the atmosphere of that movie is very, very creepy.
Yeah, they did a really like killer, all of it, the killer job, the silence of it, that's not, no pun intended, the music of it, the movement of the cameras, the stillness of the cameras, the fact that Anthony Hopkins never blinks. Like, it's amazing. The whole movie's so incredible. So I love it so much.
A great pick. I actually met Anthony Hopkins one time. He trolled me so bad. I was doing background on Westworld and season 2 or 3, and he stopped. He was like, knew he could kind of troll the extras because he's just a funny man, and I didn't know this at the time, so I'm just standing around waiting for them to yell places, like I'm 5 feet away from my mark, just hanging out, and he says, "Good morning, how are you?" And I did one of those like I looked behind me to see if there was like a crew member he knew behind me, and he looked at me, and I was like, "Me," and he was like, "Yes, how are you?" And I was like, "I'm good, I'm great, good, I'm good. How are you?" And he was like, "Very well, thank you." And he like walked over to his mark. I just completely, I didn't know what to say. I was like, "Your eyes are so blue, they're so beautiful, you're so talented. Are you gonna eat me?"
Which would be fine, actually. Like, if that's what you need, I'm here for you. Like,
I wonder if he just like picks out one person every day and he just does that. He walks over, he's like, "What's up?"
I think so. He like ate lunch with us. He like ate lunch with the extras and the crew. He was such a, and like even just between sets, we would be like relaxed, and he would like do a Charlie Chaplin impression like in the middle of the set. We couldn't go far, just to make everybody laugh. And when they wrapped the extras, he was like, "You're all marvelous, you're all beautiful," and like got the crew to applaud for the extras. And I was like, we're just getting a paycheck. This is incredible. But
That's
he was
rad.
really a great person. I have a feeling if you go up to him and you're like, even before, I think he was one of those people, like if you would go up to him and be like, "Oh, Tony, remember me? We worked on Westworld together." He would like pretend to remember you. Like he's that like old Hollywood standard, genuine human being.
That's crazy.
And he's so talented that you would believe him.
So talented. I listened to that guy on set do the same monologue like over and over again for like a whole day, and I was like, I'm taking notes, like, and I couldn't even replicate it, So he's incredible.
That's so cool. So we have another question coming here, which I really like, on the Twitch. Brodo Beast is asking, if you could collaborate with another artist, who would you choose? And maybe Lennon, if you want to go first, that seems like a good Lennon question to start things off with.
Well, I'm actually, I think about this all the time, right? I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to work with them. So like as a comedian, I have this like dream of opening for Daniel Sloss, who is like a Scottish comedian. I'm actually going to see him live for the first time in October, which is crazy because I've been following his career since he was quite young. We're not that far apart in age, but I've been following his career since we were both quite young, and he has a lot of really dark humor that really speaks to me as a comedian and an artist. And I feel like a lot of what he says makes it okay for me to play in that world of dark humor as a comedian and the self-deprecation. He's someone I've always wanted to like pick his brain about comedy and writing, and he's a really good storyteller. So like from a comedy perspective, I've always wanted to work with him. And then from like another like musical artist perspective, my favorite band is Neon Trees. And I'm actually going to see them next month as well, which is also crazy. I haven't seen them since college, but they came out with a couple new albums, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go see them. I haven't seen them since I was quite young. And I've always dreamed of doing like something for one of their shows, kind of the way I've done for Alice, like one of their music videos or one of their live shows, because I just love their music so much. They seem like such fun people.
That's really cool. I'm gonna definitely check them out. I don't think I've ever heard of that band, but they look awesome, you know, and from their description, it looks awesome. So yeah, definitely. All right. Who else wants to go? Who would you most like to collaborate with? Or if you could collaborate with another artist, who would you choose? That's the question.
I think I would choose Trent Reznor. I really relate to him as a keyboard player. And I love how creative he is with sounds in particular. Like I just really love his soundscaping and his songwriting. And it would be really amazing to get to be in a room with him to create songs together. So yeah.
You basically took my answer.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, we could both share the answer.
well, we can make it so
Alice
that yes, Alice and Nine Inch Nails collab. Well, let's do that. Health did it.
I feel like you just nailed it. Like we're good, you know.
Trent Reznor, if you're watching,
yeah,
you know who to call.
You're with us on our Sunday stream. We are available. Here's a question, which is for Lennon. If you had a chance to sing with a band, would you?
I am not nearly the singer that Sasha and Tosh and any of these people are, but yes, absolutely. In a heartbeat. I would love to learn music from these people. I've sort of done that like on my own. I'll like listen to what they're singing and like try to match it. But yeah, absolutely. Anytime. I told Sasha this the other day. Anything Alice asks me to do is like an automatic yes from my intuition. There's almost never a like, oh, well, should I? Or like, will it be good enough for, like, am I going to fit in? They've carved out such a beautiful, unique community and art form, and their sound is so solid. I don't know why Zoom thinks I'm raising my hand, but
all good.
I talk with my hands, so it's like you're making hand gestures. I'm like, no, I'm just a performance artist. But it's an automatic yes for me. So if you guys could be like, hey, do you want to play the keyboard? I'll be like, I don't know how, but I'll learn, you know. It's an automatic yes for me. Carl could be like, do you want to help me light a shoot? I'll be like, I don't know how, but I will be there. And I will have a belt on.
That's what happened.
It is.
That's exactly my story. That is what happened. Just like, I don't know how, but here we go.
So let's try it. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Singing. I could play a mean tambourine, baby.
Yeah. I mean, if you could slap something, play a tambourine.
Oh, heck and yeah, get in there on the slapper. It's so fun.
I mean, one day we're probably gonna have multiple slappers set up in multiple quadrants of the arena or whatever it is that we're playing.
That's so right. I love it so much. We could just have like a giant like Foley area, you know, slappers and tambourines and like things that you knock together. Maybe another one of those fish that goes we broke that fish. We need a new fish. So, and by we I mean I broke that fish. But like, you know, so
I forgot about the fish.
Fish was so rad. Oh yeah, the little shakers.
Yeah. I was like trying to remember what they were called. I was like, those things.
Carl, do you have anyone you would want to collaborate with, like an artist or something?
This week? Let's see. I've been listening to a lot of Ludovico Einaudi lately, and I love that he has a good amount of songs that are just piano cello. And I would be absolutely terrified, but I think it would be really cool to play some cello with him. I'd be down for that. So if he's watching, just give me a few weeks to repractice and make sure I'm not going to completely fall apart when he looks me in the eye. But you know, we'll see. So yeah, that would be my answer. Is Ludovico. He's a fantastic composer and piano player.
Nice.
Speaking of more classical music, we got a question about some classical music here. Kali says, Tosh, I see that you play classical music. Is that hard to play?
That's a good question. So that I started playing when I was 2, so I don't fully remember learning. So it's always been kind of a part of me. what was hard for me was actually learning other styles that weren't structured. So the first time I played blues and was improvising with a band, I ended up like 2 phrases ahead because I was so nervous. And I didn't know how to listen, you know, for the different changes. So for some people that started out like with less structured music, just jamming and things like that, like, you know, it was probably much easier for them. So for me, learning blues was really, really hard. And it's still not the easiest, whereas classical, like I learned how to read music before I read English. So it's actually my first language. And I literally, as soon as I see like certain passages, like my hands automatically I feel it in my hands and I feel it in my voice as well. So but yeah, and rock music is similar to blues in that it really is about just sort of letting go and listening to each other and jamming, and I love that it's something that I've had to really work for and continue to. So yeah. And jazz also, I think, is kind of a culmination of that, where you really have to know your music theory to really understand how to like improv on top of the different changes. So, but if there's anything in particular, like certain instrument that's calling to you that you want to explore, classical is a great entrance because it gives you a really great idea on how to like, you know, read notes, and you know, gives you an overview of music theory and things like that. So, yeah.
I love it.
And we also have 2 questions specifically about the upcoming tour, if we are coming to Columbus and if we are going to Alabama. All my many notes.
So we're not going to be in Columbus for this particular tour. And then what was the other question?
At Alabama or Atlanta?
Alabama. I am looking into Alabama and Ohio for our spring tour. We're going to be playing at Dark Force Fest in April. And I was looking around maybe in Birmingham and somewhere in Ohio. So if y'all have any suggestions for venues, promoters, people that we can touch base with, I'm the one that does all the bookings. So it's super helpful when y'all send over suggestions, and very much appreciated. And yeah, so hopefully we will make it your way in the spring.
For those of y'all who are new to us, and for maybe just this is your first Sunday stream, welcome. But Tosh does all of our booking for all of our tours. So, and oftentimes she's booking multiple tours at the same time. So yeah, just wanted to do a shout out because holy cannoli,
pretty crazy.
That is a ton of work.
Not only is she the lead singer, but she is the lead booker.
Well, it takes a village. We all inhabit our different roles. So yeah.
We're getting a question about Fort Worth or Dallas.
Yes, that is also going to be in the books for our spring tour. I just booked our San Antonio show. So if you have any suggestions for Dallas, that would be awesome. But we are definitely planning on being there in May. So we can't wait to come back to our home state.
Tosh, I'm so sorry I interrupted you about Texas.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, Tosh, Jason Campbell says, are there any plans for a sequel to your book?
Yes, I've started. So Lennon, I have a children's book called My Best Friend Fear.
I love it. I read it cover to cover.
Oh, you have. Okay, so
I'll throw up a link to it.
I am working on a follow-up to that. So that's in the works. And yeah, like I think it's been fun kind of playing around with different emotions. So yes, there will be a follow-up for sure.
I was just gonna ask, can we get a clue as to like what some of the emotions are? Or
well, I definitely wanted to play around with grief and also with anger, because I think they're really powerful friends. I like to look at our different emotions as friends that we just kind of sit with and get to know. So yeah.
My best friend fear is one of my favorite stories. I tell everybody about that story.
Oh, thank you.
I love the story, and the illustration is really good too. Like just the whole thing is awesome.
My friend Nicole Renee Bouffard is the illustrator for My Best Friend Fear, and she's so amazing. Also a singer. I met her while we were doing Magic Flute together. We were singing together for that opera, and that's actually how Carl met her. Carl was playing cello in the orchestra for that. But yeah, she's a really amazing illustrator, and that story, it's sort of like it's really amazing when you get to create art that just kind of comes to you and is so easy to pour out. You know, it's like the story is meant to be in the world. So
let's see, there's a few more questions. Let's see.
Oh, this is fun. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I was just gonna go. There's Kevin Smith was asking, how stressed does Tosh get when trying to book the tours? That's an interesting question, but
so we have these really fun Sunday evenings. It's usually like me, Sash, Carl, and Scott. We get together and we call it Fish and Wine Nights. And we pack merch, and I'm booking tours at the same time. And I don't know, I think it's all kind of par for the course when things happen, which they do. So like last minute cancellations, or I don't hear back from people, last minute, you know, snafus where I'm like, oh no, we have to find a new venue, and we have like 2 days into the show and I'm in the middle of the tour. But honestly, like at this point, because I've been booking for the band since 2016, like that's when we really started heavily touring. I don't know, when stuff happens, I'm like, okay, this is part of the thing. You know, it's just sort of flowing with it, where you're like, okay, let's, like any job, we are like, I know what I signed up for, and this is the thing, and it's absolutely worth it. Like when we are on the road and we're in the thick of the tour, it just feels 100% worth it. So that really is what inspires me when I'm going through those challenges. And lots of tea. Tea is great for stress. Yes. What kind of tea are you drinking, Lennon?
I love robust black teas, like the stronger, the better. And this one is called Paris. Ooh. And it's from the Tea Gardens, which is a local tea shop by my house. And it's like one of my favorite teas. It's a really strong black tea with like a little bit of notes of like vanilla and bergamot in it. And so I like a little splash of milk in it. And I swear, if you've ever been to Paris and had their like really strong teas at like Cafe Angelique or La Durée or anything like that, it really does give me that vibe of like being in Paris on like a spring day. Dude. So yeah, I drink all the teas: white teas, green teas, oolongs, black. I love all of them.
Same. We are definitely tea lovers in our little group here.
Stephen Baker says, Lennon, what's your favorite food and what's your favorite junk food?
I think those are the same thing. My favorite food is junk food. That's not true. I love everything. I'm like a human garbage disposal. If you take me to like the fanciest restaurant, I will be like in heaven, because I like never eat like that. Somebody made homemade salmon fillets the other night with like homemade like blackberry compote, and I was like, I never eat like this is so good. But like at 2 a.m. when I'm coming home from a show, or 3 a.m. and there's like nothing open, I will devour Taco Bell. So like the spectrum is broad. I love Mexican food since I grew up in California and I grew up in Los Angeles. I love Mexican food, enchilada sauce, mole sauce, like the way that carnitas is cooked. I'm like a really big fan of like south of the border flavors. But then, you know, if you get me at like a bougie fresh French restaurant, I'll eat the crap out of it. Like, and I think for like my daily junk food, it's Cheetos. Cheetos is my kryptonite. There's Cheetos, it's game over.
Now we know what to feed you on or to entice you for like doing more dance shoots and stuff like that.
Right. We have out like carrots and hummus and broccoli, and now I know it. I just see Cheetos. We're good.
Yeah.
Any food though entices me. Like if you're like, hey, we got food, I'm like, I'm there. Like,
yeah.
Like, oh, there's snacks, I'm coming. Like I just bring more. I'm like, do you need snacks? I love food. I love food so much.
Tom Lee on Facebook was asking if we have any new merch for the upcoming tour, and I actually want to say that is a definite yes. We just sent off a brand new t-shirt design to our t-shirt printer. So there'll be much more details on that soon. And we'll probably like have another contest for that as we get close to the tour and close to like the live stream and all that stuff on September 26th. But yeah, definitely.
So here's an interesting one. It says, for Mirage, what is the first instrument that you hear?
Wait, what's that I hear?
That like what is played first? Like the first, is it a synthesizer doing the?
I think it's Gordon's bass synth, right?
It's there's a synth bass, yeah, that Gordon's playing,
Yeah.
and then there's the drum beat. So it's just the drums and synth, and that's it. What do you? Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty sure that's all that's happening there. That's a fun question, though.
Cool, right?
Yeah,
many layers coming.
It was really fun to create that song because it's all about the layers. So when we were at first jamming it out, it was about like, okay, we're just gonna start layering, and it made sense to start with the bass and drums, and then we all just started adding on top of that. So.
Brodo Beast in the Twitch stream was asking about New Year's with Alice, and we're actually, I know we were originally talking about doing a show in Phoenix on New Year's, and it actually turns out that it had to be moved to January 13th in Phoenix, but we are still planning on doing like a weekend with Alice that will most probably be happening in Los Angeles. So if anyone's interested, reach out to me, let me know if that's something you'd be into. We're still thinking and talking about doing an escape room, maybe like a hike to the Hollywood sign, dinner with the band, and a private show, and probably more stuff. So just reach out to me. You know where to find me if that's something you'd be interested in doing. But yeah, the Phoenix show. Yes. Okay. Well,
Lennon will Los Angeles Alice show shenanigans.
Are you reaching out, Lennon?
This is me reaching out officially.
Heck yeah.
Awesome. I think we accept your reach out. We're probably also reaching out, you know, we're also probably like, hey, Lennon, will you do this with us? We're just going to ask you in front of all these people.
Yeah, my answer is yes.
Cool. Let's see, looking for some more questions here. Yeah, so if you're in the stream right now, we're hanging out with Lennon. If you just came onto the stream, Lennon Hobson is one of the featured dancers in the See Me music video, which is coming out on September 26th. We have the music video coming out in the single. The people in our inner circle got a chance to hear the song, and you know they're digging it, and we're really excited to get it out, you know, onto the internets and everything. So very excited, September 26th. And if you have any questions for the band, feel free to ask them in the chat, and we're happy to go through and answer any questions that you might have.
We sort of kind of talked about this a little bit, but we have a question that is, Lennon, what have been your favorite Alice shows?
Yeah, definitely. The show at the Troubadour does stick out in my mind. That was like such a fun, wild night. I just remember it being so insane, and I was like, this is so fun. And it was such a massive crowd and stage. I also just, and I don't know that I could pinpoint one, but I mean, there were so many masquerades at the Labyrinth Ball where I just danced with you guys and on the little platforms and different songs. And I mean, and then of course doing the Mirage music video was so fun because there was so much camaraderie, even though Carl was so mad at the ice chest and the camera on the gimbal. It makes me enjoyable when Carl gets angry because he's funny about it, because Carl's such a good performer and a good sport. So I kind of enjoy it when Carl gets frustrated. I don't do anything intentionally to provoke it. I just enjoy watching it play out. And the Mirage music video,
I'm gonna be like kind of looking for these little signs and everything. Be like, wait, everything is going wrong right now. Where is Lennon?
Yeah, right. I'm watching Lennon watching you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I just there were so many of us on the Mirage shoot. It was like so many dancers, and the band just crammed into the car under a little tent. It was just such a it was like, you know how they talk about, I'm gonna be mixing metaphors here, I think, because I'm not super familiar with, there's a specific thing where it's like actors and performers who are in the trenches together, so to speak, which is, I know, a metaphor for like being in service together, but it's like you've gone through a lot together, and so you have this like bonding experience. And Mirage is almost the culmination of that, where it's like we've been through so many bonding experiences that now we're going to go to the desert in July, pee in the dirt, like phone's going to be overheated, like, and it was no work, like on my end. Like there was no like tantrums, like there was no drama. Like it was, I actually genuinely really enjoyed doing it, which is not something I ever thought I would say. Is be like, you know what was really fun was that time we had to dance in 120-degree direct sunlight in the desert, in the rock desert with no bathrooms. But I had such a fun time that day. And I think that footage like opens my dance reel currently, because I just had so much fun doing it.
And that's something that I gotta very much hand to you and all the other dancers, because it would have been so easy for everybody to just be in a bad mood on that day. I know that would have been extremely easy. And everybody was so enthusiastic and so focused and driven to get this thing done, and also having fun with it. And it was just such a beautiful thing to see, because, like I said, it could have been very easy for everybody to just complain the whole time, and I would have understood. But nobody did. Everybody was on it, and we got some really, really cool footage. And after we were able to get the camera to actually work, and it was really great.
And that's the thing. I just remember being in the car on the ride back and forth with you, like listening to music and talking about music and talking about what you guys are working on, and getting to know everybody who I was on set with. Like, I don't know. I'm with Carl. Like it would have been so easy for that to be such a difficult day, but I have such fond memories of it. I think Kazi and I woke up, put on our warm-ups or like our clothes, because we knew we were gonna like have to be in the desert, and walked to Steve's house to meet the caravan at like 5 a.m. Like I remember us walking over and it was like still dark out. And I was like, what are we doing? Like I just remember like walking over to Steve's house, like, oh, this is gonna be a weird day. And it was like so much fun.
Yeah, it was an early day. I remember that too. It was just like daybreak in the van, heading out to El Mirage, to the middle of the summer in the middle of the desert. And I wouldn't have had it any other way. Okay. Absolutely beautiful. So a lot of sunblock. Yes, Kevin Smith.
Yes.
Lots of sunblock.
Here's a follow-up to that is what is the easiest music video you've ever done, and what's the hardest music video you've ever done?
For me, with you guys, like of the Alice music, maybe it's like a 3-parter. I don't know. I feel like the easiest one I've ever done, they've all, I don't know, they're all so fun. They don't feel like work to me. I guess they are work, but they don't feel, Sasha and I've talked about this, like I never really feel like when I'm doing stuff with Alice, even when it's a time crunch, even when we're trying to get it out, that it's like work. I don't know. It always feels like fun to me. I don't know. Maybe that's because it's you guys, or because of the nature of which you do things. I actually found See Me to be really effortless on my end. I mean, as far as like work for a music video, for a director goes, like See Me, I really breezed through it workload wise. It was not a stressor at all for me, any part of it. Like any of the additional scenes that Sasha and Carl did, like being on set was so lovely and so easy. I feel like probably the hardest one I've ever done was Land of Confusion. Just logistically, there was nothing crazy that like happened to make it really difficult, and everybody we worked with was awesome. It was just like a lot of moving parts, and like learning kitchen choreography in my tiny ass apartment, and dealing with cars coming in and out of our parking garage when we were doing takes. And I think RJ, I was talking to Cassie about this. I think, did RJ run an extension cord from our bathroom?
From your bathroom outside down the, like from the second story so that we could use the fogger in the alley.
Oh
And
wow.
I just remember Land of Confusion being like, and it was so fun. Like I never, one part of me was like, well, we shouldn't have done this way. Like I was in it the whole time. Like I was like, this is fun. Let's keep going. But I do remember there were like a ton of logistical, like, oh, we gotta do this. Oh, we gotta halt for that. Oh, wait, we gotta press pause. And I also think that video, I feel like that video filmed over a few different days, if I'm not mistaken. And then, I don't know, but yeah, I feel like that's the only thing that is ever hard about music videos is like the logistics with you guys anyway. I've definitely worked on other videos that were like massive stressors with different bands and different directors. That's like those can get tough because it's crunch time. Everybody's, you know, you have one day to film like a lot of moving pieces or 2 days and everyone's tired on the second day and it gets tough. But I don't know, with you guys, like I said, that I feel like the hardest part of the Land of Confusion was just the logistics of where is the extension cord going to come from. And we had like 2 lights set up in front of cars. Are these cars going anywhere? But I don't remember it being anything other than like a total blast.
Yeah, that was a fun one. That was real early too. Like that was one of our first ones, like super back in the day. That was so fun. I remember all of the like the extension cord and the like literally being like car game on, you know, like it was
Game off. Yeah.
Guerrilla shooting in every way that like I can think of. Like we just, oh my stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
we
remember
filmed some
like,
of the acting in your alley as well.
yes.
That was super fun. That was a fun one.
We had a question from someone else a little while back. They're asking if anyone was ever in any movies. Like, have you guys filmed? Were you like an actor in a movie? I guess that's the question. And I think so, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think almost all of us here are actors. I know Carl is an actor pretty much full time, and Tosh and Sasha as well. When I met Sasha, I think you were doing a play at the time that I met you and about to film something. And I'm also an actor in Los Angeles. So yeah, I think all of us have done several different things. I don't know if they were specifically movies.
Right.
What, I don't know, like film for an actor is pretty synonymous with like project. So
yeah.
Like features, like maybe big stuff.
That's cool. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I feel like all of us sort of like weave through all of those realms as we can and as we have the time and the energy and the spoons. It's a
Carl,
yeah.
I mean, I feel like you've done a lot of films. Am I wrong?
I've done a few. No, like as far as like big, huge budgeted things, I haven't done anything very far beyond some glorified background work. The last time I guess I saw myself on like the actual big screen, so to say, was I was doing background work for a film called Hail Caesar, which was a Coen Brothers movie. And I got my face fully in the shot. It took some doing, but I got there. But unfortunately, I did get my rib bruised by George Clooney's sword that he was carrying.
What?
We were all supposed to be crowding around him, so we were. And whenever he was walking by, he came around this side right here, and I was just like doing this, and then his sword came and got me right in the back. And I was just like, oh, and I think if you actually watch the film, you can see me wince a little bit when it happens. And it was kind of cool actually, because, you know, I went to see it in theaters, I think like in Santa Barbara, and I didn't say anything. It was just background, but it was kind of cool to share a brief moment with George Clooney. You know, that was pretty awesome. And I also did background work also on the Anthony Hopkins show, Westworld.
Yeah. Westworld, I feel like everybody in LA did background on Westworld because they needed so many people, and it filmed for like what, 5-6 seasons.
So
I feel
many.
like everybody I know worked on Westworld in some capacity, like set medic or stunt coordinator or choreographer or background or like stunts, utility stunts. Like I feel like everybody I know worked on Westworld.
And I've got a Hopkins story as well from that show. I was freshly union at that point, so I didn't know exactly. I didn't realize that there was a difference between, like, the union versus non-union lunch trucks. And I was in the wrong one. I can't remember which one I was in, but I was in the wrong one because nobody was in there. And whenever I was holding my food, I turned around and I started to walk out of the truck. And I turned around and there he was, facing me, looking at me. And I just kind of looked at him, was like, hi. And I tried to go left. He went left. And then we did that stupid little dance. And I was just like, oh, no. He's like, okay, there you go. And I walked by, I'm like, thanks. And then just that way. I still squeeze my pillow over it sometimes. Oh my goodness. And then later on that night, it was the season finale of season 1, whenever he was standing on stage giving this big monologue. And I was one of the robot waiters. So I got to stand up and watch him do this. And like what you were saying before, I was just mentally taking notes. I was just like watching every single little thing that he did, like as far as just like how he turns his head to that side, how he connects with every single person in the audience. And it was, oh my goodness, it was brilliant. I wish I could have stayed there for like another 12 hours and just watched him. It's beautiful. So that's my answer.
No, that's so awesome.
Sorry, that was a little long-winded. My bad.
That's okay. That was good. Y'all, today has been so fun. Thank you, Lennon, for being here with us.
I actually have a question for Lennon before we sign up. So I got to take a movement class with Lennon last weekend, which was amazing. And I think you're teaching some virtual ones coming up for anyone that's interested.
I am. Yeah. If you, the easiest way is to follow me on Instagram at lennon.hobson. So it's spelled just like John Lennon. And my last name is Hobson. So it's Lennon.Hobson. And I post on there when I'm teaching in Los Angeles live. And there was a demand from people who couldn't do Sunday classes, which is when I teach, but there was demand from the community to teach like a virtual class. So you can join actually from anywhere in the world. And I teach a mindful movement class. Which Tosh may be better able to speak to like what it actually is, but essentially it's a 50-minute movement improvisation. So I start you off with Qigong breathing, maybe some yoga postures if that's something you're into, but the design of the class is built for anybody and everyone, differently able, dancer, non-dancer, people looking to add more mindfulness into their lives, people looking to move their bodies, because a lot of us got into points of stagnation during the pandemic, myself included, where it became sort of not normal for us to move energy currents through our bodies on a daily basis. And even if I was working out, it wasn't the same as dancing or moving through energy pathways connectivity wise from brain to body. So what the goal of the mindful movement class is to ideally integrate the mind, body, soul connection. If you're interested in the meditative, spiritual aspects of it, it's totally welcome in the class. If you're just looking for an excuse to get up, move your body, feel some exercise, get your sweat on, this is a really safe space to do it in. It's essentially a guided improvisation class. So you can do whatever you want. It's free form, and you use me, the music, or my voice, or the exercises being called out to just kind of guide the body into whatever it's feeling or wants to feel or wants to try. So yeah, tomorrow night, 6 p.m. PST. So I think that's 9 p.m. for East Coast people. But you could join from around the world if you're into it. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
follow me on Instagram. I have all my classes up there.
Yeah, I highly recommend myself. I felt amazing after the class. So I'm looking forward to more.
Well, thank you guys for this time. Thank y'all out there in the internet for joining us and for your amazing questions. And thank you, Lennon, for being here with us and for sharing your incredible spirit and your hilarious sense of humor and your just light in the universe. And we're so grateful.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Thanks for being here, everybody. It was so fun. I'll see you guys on the 26th.
Sounds good. Yeah, September 26th is our live stream launch, tour launch, and See Me premiere, all combined into one big day of streaming. So we're going to be doing like live music, you know, as the band Alice will also, I think Lennon, you're going to be doing another Zoom or there in person. I'm not sure, but you're welcome for either or both, whatever you want to do. And yeah, super excited. All right. Well, we'll talk to you all soon. We'll see you on September 26th.
Happy Sunday.